If players' contracts were based on media column inches, Harry Brook could add an extra $1 million to his already hefty bank balance. After the Ashes disaster and the New Zealand fracas, he has come good by guiding England to becoming the first team into the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. Welcome to Close of Play with me, Sanjay Murthy, and former England wicketkeeper Geraint Jones. Jonesy, is this redemption for Harry Brook?
Was going a long way towards it, isn't it? If it wasn't that long ago that we were looking at behaviours and performances and questioning should he be captain, anything like that. You know, this format especially has re-shown us what an outstanding player he is, and where I think probably where he's arguably most comfortable.
Yeah, his Ashes, I did a little bit of numbers, obviously, because, I like numbers. Now, averaged nearly 40 in the Ashes, even though he didn't seem to get a score. In fact, he didn't get 100, I don't think. And then the T20 World Cup, he's averaging 31 at a strike rate of 155, which is the same as his overall record. So does it look then like whatever the external sort of pressures that are on Harry Brook, he just performs regardless?
Yeah, I think he's that sort of player, and you could, it's confidence, isn't it? He strikes me as someone who is very confident in his abilities, and at times probably overconfidence is what's cost him some daft and ugly looking dismissals, and so whereas that's probably the biggest thing for me is his confidence. He's the shots that he can play are just. Yeah, that one that he just flicked off his legs and broke the pixels on the scoreboard.
Yeah,
things like that.
Zealand.
And in a test match, it's a longer format to be able. So you do that, and you get out, and you look sort of silly, and you get those questions that we all pose. But in T, he comes off more often than not with those shots, and we just see him over and over, and he's got uber confidence to play them all. The check drives over mid-off for six, and just stunning shots. So I think he's, like I say, it's T20 is his warm comfort blanket, and he's still potentially finding out the best way to do it for Test cricket.
Yeah, the 100 he got the other day when he came in at 3. When England were in trouble, having lost Phil Salt for the first ball of the innings, there was 2 or 3 sixes where the ball is full and he's gone deep in his crease, and off the back foot has hit that check drive that you say, and it's gone sailing over the boundary. That requires 3 things: phenomenal talent, phenomenal bat, and phenomenal confidence to be able to do those 3 things. So going back to my question, really, is that even when things are going on outside, he seems to have confidence, for all ages, if you like.
Yeah. You don't visibly see it, do you? Whereas someone like, let's compare him to what's happening with Jos Buttler.
Yeah.
Jos Buttler, who's got an incredible record behind him, and who we've seen play similar shots and incredible innings. He now is someone out, who's visibly sort of has a bit of weight on his shoulders about his performances, and isn't finding a way to get just something to feel him in a bit of a groove. Hopefully he does. Hopefully for England's sake, the Jos takes a bit of Harry Brook confidence, and it doesn't matter what's happening currently off the field, on the field. Am I in form? Am I out of it? Right, this is just about this day. This is just about this ball. And I know that people will say, well, that should be the case anyway. You're an international player. You're one of the best that's ever been. You should be able to block out that outside noise. Well, it's not that easy. And for someone like Jos, who's played for so long, and and the expectation of him, it is weighing a bit heavy.
When Harry Brook did his post-match interview after the 100 that he got, when he came out and surprised everybody by coming out at number 3, he said that Baz McCullum had come to him in the morning and said, "You're batting at 3 today," and that's what happened. Do you think that same decision is now looming as far as Jos Buttler's concerned, i.e. does the captain and the coach need to come together and say, listen, do we move Jos out of the firing line and bat him lower down and bring in Ben Duckett, who's also got a very good 20 strike rate and average, or do they leave it as it is?
I think they leave it as is. Yeah, it's a massive call, and you could argue, well, that it's one that should be made, but considering the way that England are playing, that they're on this roll, and they've come across the side. They've sort of tinkered around with a few players at the start. They brought Rehan Ahmed in now, who won the match at the
Really?
back
Yeah.
end the other day. So I remember talking to you early on about this tournament. Is you find your way and you find the rhythm of how your team plays, and that rhythm at the start was a bit sort of clunky, and we just snuck across the line against Nepal, but as each match has gone on, the team is growing in confidence. It's more settled. People are really understanding it, what they're doing, and they're confident that they can win from any position. And that's a crucial part of T20 cricket, is that things can change so quickly. So that's why I don't think that they will change Jos Buttler, because they like the vibe, the feel of the team, and taking Jos out will create some sort of waves around that, and almost go, well, England still think that there's a few problems in there. Whereas actually, no, we're okay. We're full. As it stands, we fully trust Jos. Expect him to do something in the semi-final or and if we get to the final, we still think Jos Buttler can win us a match.
So when you played Jonesy and you weren't getting runs in the shorter format of the game, did it affect your wicket keeping?
Not that I recall greatly, because you're in the game quite a bit, and that's what I'm seeing with Jos over there, is with especially when they've been in Sri Lanka, and the turning wickets and the amount of spin that he's been keeping to. He's been taking stumpings, and he's been really, really involved, and that's could potentially be helping him, because if you're a fielder where you're just standing on the boundary and you're not getting any balls coming to you, you've got that thinking time to get to sort of mull over, why aren't I scoring any runs? Why did I nick that one off? Whereas when you've got the dual aspects, much like an all-rounder, and that's what keepers are considered now, is an all-rounder, you've got that aspect to sort of keep you going, keep you interested, keep you sort of on top of that, keep your edge with the keeping, because your batting potentially isn't far away. What you can't do is just throw the toys out and not do either.
Do you think England have got the right component parts in the right places now? Or do you think, and that's what's creating success? Or do you think it's tournament momentum that's driving them forward, and there are still, I guess, like Jos, there's still bits that aren't working, but the tournament momentum is rolling them forward towards the they're in the semi-finals and potentially the final.
Yeah, I think they've made some very good decisions in terms of Will Jacks, putting him where he is down that that sort of middle order, adding to the powerhouse down there, tweaking around with the bowlers, and so Sam Curran's played really well. They left Overton out of the last match, but Rehan Ahmed. So there's slight little aspects there that they feel they can tweak, and with the semi-final that they're going to play, arguably that's going to be on a better wicket, whereas in Sri Lanka they've been used wickets, so that's the call, right? Overton out, let's get Rehan Ahmed in, because it should spin more, and we think that's an aspect. So I think that the success in the tournament has allowed them to do that, and they've been able to expose some players to matches, and they've had really positive sort of intent in those matches, and they've come out of them well. And so I think the two aspects are working, and it's dangerous to get positive and dangerous to look forward with England, isn't it? But when you look at it, I said a while ago that I like the fact that individuals were contributing, each individual. And as it stands now, I think it's arguably, it is just Jos Buttler is that final piece that if he could, he could contribute, that you got all the way down, you could say that someone's done something that when it comes to a situation that needs them to perform to arguably win the match, much like Rehan Ahmed did the other day, when he went out there, he was just given that license, go back like Sehwag, okay, and off he went and he did it. And so now there's all that sort of stuff. So it is both aspects. It's the tournament stuff, and they've made some good decisions with players.
With the Rehan Ahmed selection, do you think his batting won him that selection over Jamie Overton, as opposed to their bowling prowess? I.e., did they want to pick another spinner, and so therefore it's Rehan Ahmed, or did they go, actually, Rehan's batting is better than Jamie's batting, let's go with him?
No, I think it was I think it was probably a bowling led
Okay.
decision, but in the knowledge that they know how good a batter Rehan Ahmed is. You got hundreds at county level. He's got runs for the Lions. It's a banker that they've got. It's like his batting is so good, and also he's had success with his bowling. Leg spin bowling. We've seen how much success that's had in T20s over the years, and so with his googlies, everything like that. So I think it was a bowling led decision, but with the background knowledge, this boy can bat.
And do you think now England are set, that's the team that's going to go forward now? They're going to play the winner of the game that's currently going on, which is India and the West Indies. India have just lost a wicket. They're 101 for 3 now. They need 95 to win off 9 overs. So that's going to go down to the wire. That'll be a major shock if the Indians don't get over. But do you think England will care who they play?
I think yes. If you could say, listen, you've got the option of playing India or the West Indies, considering how mercurial the West Indies can be with how they play, whereas you'd bank, and so you would, I would think that they might be more, happier playing in the West Indies. Also, if you don't have to play India in India, with the crowds and stuff. So that's where I think they would lean. So those last 9 overs of that match, it could be would be good to watch, mate. If I wasn't talking to you, but hey,
I'll keep you updated, mate. I've got screens galore here. So I've got one that's got the match. Go on.
To answer your question about the team, I think the wickets may dictate that they go back to Overton, because if we think back to the early part of the tournament, spin wasn't having the impact that it's had when they went to Sri Lanka. Because Sri Lanka, they started to play on used wickets.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas for the semi-final, you'd expect a fresh wicket, which won't turn as much. So then that flip decision comes back. Does someone like Overton and pace, where he can create some wickets with maybe a newer ball, still in the knowledge that it comes down, we're not really losing a lot with our batting.
Would there ever be a world where Rehan Ahmed plays instead of Adil Rashid?
Potentially 6 months' time in England.
But not on Thursday in Mumbai, no?
No, Adil Rashid's been too good. Yes, he didn't set the tournament on fire early on, and he's been steady, and he's probably not done what we've seen him do as consistently before. So no, I don't think so. I think much like the Jos Buttler discussion, I think he's got too much in the bank, and the team's been trickling along well with him in it, with him doing what he needs. But that's not to say that the tap on the shoulder for a deal could happen, and that England say, right, it's time for T20 cricket. It's time for Rehan to be our leg spin option.
Yeah. And what's interesting, I think, there is, regardless of India in India and the crowds and all that sort of stuff, is which team, just man for man, which of India or England, India or the West Indies, would expose the weak spots that you identify within the England setup?
Good question. I think possibly, without having exactly off the top of my head, the way that the success of the spinners, I suppose, is where I would lean to with that question. Is that the Indian spinners exploit their own conditions against our batters better than the West Indian spinners. That's where I'd probably think, because I think seamers is very much like for like.
Yeah.
On those sort of wickets, but so that's why potentially I think England would be happier playing the West Indies on a wicket that doesn't turn as much, and sort of narrows those margins down more, because then they think, okay, well, we can, good wicket, short boundaries, we can hit them for more boundaries than they can hit us for.
Yeah, but then you got Siobhan Hetmeyer coming in and at 3 for the West Indies after Shai Hoop, and they opened with Royston Chase today, which was interesting. His first game, he's never opened the batting before, and he comes in to open in a crunch game for the West Indies against India. But Siobhan Hetmeyer looks a hell of a player, and he's going to be, doesn't matter who England choose, if that's who England end up playing, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and interesting. I was doing a bit of coaching and just looking at the BBC feed, and I think Hetmeyer he was flying, wasn't he? He'd got to, just before he got out, they'd sort of said he does, he's done everything he needs to do here. He just needs, sort of not consolidate, but almost the damage he's created. And then he got out next ball, no doubt,
he got
trying to hit it out of
22 off 12 balls, I think he got, and then got a little inside
and
edge.
that's what they were talking about. Yeah, exactly. And so, but that's, again, I keep harping on about it. That's the nature of T20 cricket, is that these players now, they don't wind it back. They just keep going. And especially that, if you get to 21 off those 10 or 12 balls, they're not sort of thinking, okay, I need to now maybe let's look at getting 50 off 30. No, there's none of that. Can I hit the next ball as far, knowing that going at 200, and giving that injection of runs, that's what's done. Because if if 7 batters do that, hit a 20 or 30 at almost sort of 150 to 200, that's what's winning T20 matches.
Yeah, and that the Will Jacks coming in at 8 for England, which still is really difficult to sort of reconcile, because it just seems too low, especially given he's coming into bat after Sam Curran. But time and time again, he comes in, Will Jacks, and wins matches, which proves it's exactly right. And it's modern cricket, I suppose, as you just said. It doesn't matter kind of where you bat. You said on the podcast before, if you were coming in at 8, you were like, what's the point? I've just got a few balls to face. But even Will Jacks comes in at 8, and he could be coming in reasonably early because of the way they go, but he's just going to stand there and bang it.
And then that's the mindset switch of when I was the initial part of T20 cricket, and someone like Will Jacks will be looking at that and sees that as a role. And that's why England have their 6-hitting competitions as often as they do in training, because that's what that back end, yes, it's fun, but they're also training for reality, that one of those guys in there potentially needs to come in and hit a ball for 6 off their only ball they're facing to win a World Cup. And so it's, and someone like Will Jacks has shown that he can do it. And I think probably the reason Curran's batting ahead of him is for left-right combinations, when they look at it down the lines with Bethel, and, so they keep switching it up rather than being samey, and Curran's been doing so well. He's been so consistent. And so, again, that's a smart little tactical move. Let's throw a lefty in there. Because all you're trying to do is slightly put bowlers off either lengths or lines, because if they slightly miss nowadays, these batters just go for it and hit it more often than not.
Such an opportunity for you to tell me for the 80 millionth time that cricket's a game about angles, and you missed it. It was there. It was like a volley outside.
It was in here. It was up here, and I thought, I'm going to leave it this one. I'm just going to
just do that. Actually, on that, so let's play a little game. England. So, which England player do you think India would want in their side, and vice versa?
Harry Brook.
Yeah, Harry. And then who would England want in their side from the Indian lineup?
I don't know if they'd. I don't know if they'd take any of their batters over what we've got. Currently, apart from maybe. Possibly swap out an opener. Who opens for India? That's
Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma, and the Ishan Kishan's in at 3 now. So any of those two, really.
So maybe Ishan Kishan, just because I like the name, put him to open, and instead of Jos currently. But then, of course, you've got the wicket-keeping issue. That's probably it.
Well, he keeps, isn't he?
So yeah, you've got that.
See, for me, I would have Varun Chakravarti.
Who are
you going to say?
Okay, well, the only other thing I was going to go with was a fast bowling option.
Yeah.
So that was in my head, whether or not like a Bumrah
that's
or someone.
So I think originally you'd go with the Jasprit Bumrah or Hardik Pandya, wouldn't you? But then you look at England, you go, okay, well, it's either then you're dropping Sam Curran or Jofra Archer, and you'd say there's not much of a difference between those 4. And I think the biggest thing, where someone like Chakravarti could play a role is coming in and adding to the spin option. So that was the one. But I'd say I agree on Harry Brook. I think he's the one that goes in. So, and then for the West Indies, what would you say? Harry Brook again, going into the Windies side, or would it be somebody else this time?
No, I think every team in the world would want Harry Brook playing for
Yeah,
them.
true. Yeah.
You know,
And who would England
that's
want from the West Indies side?
um, I know it's probably I'm going to completely sort of someone like Hetmeyer maybe
Mm,
where push him up one place and open the open the batting. Only because in this set, it's extraordinary to say it, but in this set of games in this World Cup, Jos Buttler is the one that hasn't performed. So you'd argue statistically he shouldn't be in the side. So if we're replacing him,
yeah. Or you can,
let's do it with someone who's exciting.
yeah, you can get Shea Hope in there, and he can keep wicket as well. So
Yeah,
there you have it. Right. So currently India are 126 for 3, need 70 runs to win off 6.4 overs. They've still got 7 wickets in the hutch, so it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be close. England don't mind who they play in Mumbai on Thursday. I was watching a bit of the India innings, and their fielding was ropey today. Do you think the fielding intensity that England has is going to be a major factor in them beating whoever they end up playing at the Wankhede that day?
that was a big disappointment we had in England's fielding in the Ashes, wasn't it? It was the amount of catches dropped. But you then look at this, the sort of in a way, the youthful nature of this side, and fielding is obviously something that they've stepped up and they've shown to be brilliant in this series in this tournament. So yeah, I think it definitely needs it in the T20 matches that if I flick it back to Kent, when Kent was successful a few years ago, it was because they had some absolute gun fielders in the most important positions. Jordan Cox, he would be a boundary, and there's, some of the catches he took on those boundary edge to instead of the one that just trickles over, and gets dropped for not trickle, so they don't trickle balls over the boundary in these days. That instead of making that catch on the boundary, it gets dropped, and I think that's where England have got things right, and putting fielders in the right position as well is very important.
You didn't mention cricket and angles, but you did mention you got your love child in again. I see you haven't mentioned Jordan Cox since the end of the Ashes, so at least he's made a
Well,
reappearance.
mate, just go and look at Coxey's catching highlights. It's
Oh, well, no, it's
ridiculous.
it's up there. When people go on YouTube, that's exactly what they put in. Coxey's catching highlights. It's a major thing. The surprised team of this tournament have been Zimbabwe. I know they're a four-member nation, but obviously, they've been up and down a bit over the last few years, players leaving. They had those glory years in there with the Flower Brothers and Heath Streak and Goodwin and that sort of stuff. And with Sikandar Raza as a leader, they've had a fantastic tournament. And, I heard him speak afterwards, and what a leader of men he is. How influential do you think, or have you seen, with the people you've played with, how influential is the captain in making a side that individually may not stack up into a team that is, winning hearts and minds in games of cricket?
Yeah, and yeah, very, very important for a start to answer that. It's you look for your leader to drive you forward and to help you navigate you through tricky situations with a decision or a pat on the back or it's just something like that. And so yes, it is important. And I think add to that with Zimbabwe, you mentioned those players of previous times, but in between them and this current, you think of I'm going to call it the turmoil that Zimbabwe cricket has been through
Mm.
with everything and so they've got that to sort of assist them. When you think of a bit like if something like a football match when someone makes a comment in the lead up, and you can imagine that the manager cuts out those comments and pins it up against the wall. Well, Zimbabwe cricket has got a lot of that to draw upon, but significantly unite them. And I think that's the key is with, and that's been the success to South African cricket, the way they've united themselves. And Zimbabwe has done, I would say, looking at this tournament, done very similar. And I wouldn't surprise me if they've drawn on history, sort of the belongings, sort of around the country, everything like that is how as a group are we going to work. And with a leader like Raza, he's been able to do that on the field and off it.
And of course, he made it into your AI best 11 as well, didn't he? So that was an inspired choice by co-pilot. I mean, by you. It's very, very good work. He was saying afterwards that behind the scenes, the administration are working on tours of other countries, so playing more cricket, test matches and stuff. So that's gonna be great to see. India 136 for 3 currently. They need 60 runs off 6 overs, and still got 7 wickets left. So that's going their way. You would think at the moment, wouldn't you? With the wickets left, someone must have got some runs. I would suggest. Sanju Samson is still there on 69 off 39 balls. Tilak Varma's with him at the moment, 23 off 12. So that's the state of play in Calcutta. Right. Please remember to like and subscribe and enjoy the rest of the show. Now, Brandos can't be with us today due to situation that's going on in the Middle East. And in Silly Point, we played Who Am I last time, and he did very well by winning it. And I did suggest that this was a game that would work well when 3 of us were involved. However, we're going to go with just you. Now, so let me just recap, right? I can only answer yes or no. And if you if you ask me a question that's vague, I'm just going to say yes or no, and you're going to moan at the end because you're going to say, "Well, it wasn't that, it wasn't this," but it's just a rubbish question by you. Right?
I've got my first question.
Yeah, I got it.
Do I have to do this?
1, yes, got it. Right, off you go. I'll give you that one. Go on, free question.
Okay. Come on, brain. Oh, it's been a long week. Is this player a current player?
No, it's not Headley Verity. I just thought I'd tell you.
My gosh. Did I play with this player?
No, I mean you're old,
They're
but
definitely
you're not that old. Give you a clue there. Free clue.
Right. Yeah. Is this player a batter?
Yes.
Did they play for England?
No. Go to other countries now.
Gosh.
I can take up 15 questions.
It's not even like, so even if like the logical, are they, even if I was thinking in my head, did they play for a country in the northern or the southern hemisphere? Well, that's a ridiculous question. So that's a waste. I haven't asked that, by the way, but that's
No,
where I'm
I can
thinking.
tell. Yeah.
So that
when Brandos watches, he'll be shouting questions at the thing, going, "Ask him that, which you won't be asking.
Is this player male?
Yes.
Right. So that's okay. Current player.
So recap: male, ex-player, didn't play for England. You never played with him. You're a quarter of the way through.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I can see you can see it fading away quickly.
Does this player hold a world record for their score, for a score made?
Ask that question again.
Does this player hold a world record for a score that they achieved?
He just changed one word. Brilliant. So the answer to it is no, but I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be kind because they did. That was the word I wanted you to look at. Not blooming achieved or scored.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, is this player Matthew Hayden?
No.
What? What other world records are there?
Well, you see, you're going to find out as you go through this question. India 141 for 3, need 55 off 5.3 overs, still with 7 wickets left. Just to keep them.
So they did hold a world record.
He did hold a world record. We've had 7 questions so far. Sanju Samson is on 70 now. Throw you off.
Yeah, mate. Well, come on, brain. Is this player a right-handed batter?
Yes.
That might help me out.
8 questions gone.
Okay.
I mean, you've got to really rock it for me.
Oh, I think I may have twigged. Is this player Sachin Tendulkar?
No.
What?
Well, random rabbit and hat. That one is like, or rabbit in somewhere.
Well, no, I'm thinking for world, like.
I see, yeah.
Records. Okay, right. Is this player Indian?
No. You're halfway through, and you're nowhere near. There's been a wicket over in India, and that
I'm
wicket is
nowhere near.
Tilak
No.
Varma, who's gone for 27. India 141 for 4.
I literally need to go through the countries. Is this player Australian?
No, 11.
This is ridiculous.
Every quiz we've had, it's been the word, isn't it? This is tremendous
It's easy.
podcasting.
Right-handed, former world record holder. People are going. Not
shouting
Australian.
They're going, it's this bloke.
Not Indian.
No, not Australian either.
Who else plays cricket in the world?
The Netherlands? Could be Nepalese.
That's the trouble. You could have plucked it from anywhere.
No, see, on this competition, it's got to be fairly obvious. It can't be random, like,
That's,
not the true or falses.
Not to me.
No, that's true.
Did I play against this player?
No, you did that earlier.
Did I?
Yeah, it was your second question, I think. Did I play with him or against him? One of the two. The answer's no.
Okay.
Both of those.
Oh, right. No, okay. That's null and void.
Still 12 gone.
Did this? Oh, who's? See, this is where I'm so bad. What else is there?
I'm not going to put you forward for a quiz show on the telly, am I? Who wants to be a millionaire?
No, we're not.
Jones. You get about 30p.
Yeah. Generally, when I go to quizzes, I get my phone out and cheat. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, well. You tried to do that in one of the true or falses in the Ashes. You got busted, if you remember.
Can I? Well, at what point do I wave a white flag and say,
Whatever you want.
Sunday after?
You've got 12. You've got 8 questions left. I mean, you've only asked about 2 countries so far. Narrow the countries.
Yeah. Okay. Are they? Yeah. I should just go for that. Is this player from South Africa?
No, they're playing at the moment. One of these countries. There you go. How's that for a clue? And it's not India. Who's playing?
West Indies, right?
Yeah. So you got 7 questions left.
Right. Okay. So is this player from the West Indies?
Yes. Brilliant. Don't know how you got it.
Now I've just got to remember.
Remember, he's right-handed. Former world record holder.
Wow. I don't know. Is this player Sir Viv Richards?
It is Sir Viv Richards.
There we go. Yes.
I mean, it's Brandos, please come back. We need you next week. The world record he had was he scored 189 in an ODI in 1984, which was a record at that time. There you go, you see. Imagine if I hadn't told you he was from the West Indies. And we'd be. I wonder where the West Indies would have been in your list of countries that you put forward as the nationality of Sir Viv Richards. You've got a fan, by the way. Somebody messaged on YouTube. Somebody called Mitchell Nichols said, GJ, I'm an Aussie, mate, but I was always in awe of you as a keeper batsman. I looked up to you as a cricketer. You must be bloody sure. Gilly was great.
Good on you, Mitch.
Gilly was great. We'll stop there. But you were someone I can resonate with. You obviously shit at quizzes as well.
Distinctly average.
You really did inspire me to be a keeper batsman. You gave me hope I could make it. So that's nice, isn't it? Please don't take this the wrong way. Ready? No, there's nothing there.
No, thanks, Mitch.
Because I'm being genuinely sincere. I think that was to do with the Gilly bit. I hope you're doing well, mate. Still remember that ODI knock against Australia where you smacked us all around the park? Do you remember the ODI knock against Australia where you smacked him all around the park?
Oh yeah, I think it was at Lord's where I got man of the match and took 5 catches and got about 70.
Did you? Well, there you go. You see. Oh, what year was that? That was around that time, 05.
2005.
Was it? What a year that was.
Yeah, that was in the first set of ODIs we played leading up to the. Randomly, we played 2 sets of ODIs before the Test matches.
What, against Australia?
I don't know if it was. I'm trying to remember. This is where my memory. Australia were part of it. Yeah, we had to play that. So we've played that final, and we actually. I remember. Did we tie the final? All I remember is Ashley Giles being out there at the end, and so incredible game of cricket, and we got to that, and then we're ready to start that first Test match, and we had to go and play some more one-dayers where we were dreadful in, and we got thumps. But yeah.
Did you open against Australia? Is that when you opened the one day?
No, middle order, yeah. But they'd seen enough of me doing that by then.
So the short-lived stint was it? The top of the dope.
Yeah. One of those wacky thoughts that Duncan Fletcher had for a while.
Well, that's a bit like putting Harry Brook in at 3, right? Just a different
Yeah.
outcome. Mitch, thank you very much for that. Jonesy does remember it, which surprised most of us, I think, on this, because his memory is not brilliant at things that he's done. That's why he has that picture behind him, just to remind him it was real. Talking of catches, what do you reckon the best catch of the tournament so far has been, that you remember anyway?
Yeah, that does narrow it down.
It
And
does, yeah, exactly.
it means it
That
needs, yeah, it means it's a fairly recent one. And it's something that's been doing the rounds on recently on the, where is it? It was in the England-New Zealand match. It was
Glenn Phillips.
Glenn Phillips, that running in full length forward.
Yeah.
He just makes it
Dan
look,
Curran's,
he makes it look so easy.
Yeah, phenomenal.
He's just, it's that key at a speed like that to be graceful, and he is graceful with the way he feels, but to also almost, it's like in slow motion, and and so I remember seeing some slow mo highlights of his positions, and he's just utterly, there's no doubt in his mind that he's not going to catch it, and it's so evident.
Do you think, actually, that's an important point. Do you think, how much does confidence, you saw India today, Abhishek Sharma dropped a couple, I think Tilak Varma dropped one as well. How much does confidence and sort of, a resolute determination to achieve what you're going to achieve play a part in catching the ball under that pressure?
A massive, especially out there. And Glenn Phillips is, someone who wants to be in those positions, making plays like that, and expects to do it. I imagine trains to do it as well. And you're seeing the sort of the reproduction of what he's doing in training. He would have taken loads of those style catches in training. So when it comes to the match, where with those Indian players, are they training at the same sort of levels? And and in training recently, did they spill a few? So definitely confidence plays a big part
In training, actually. So when the guy, the coach has got a bat, he's pumping them up into the air, and you're running underneath them, steadying them, catching them. Do they try different things? They deliberately try and put the ball short, so you've got to run in and dive forward, and that sort of type of thing, or is it just fairly standard, whack it up in the air and catch it?
No, and that's where as a coach, when I'm doing stuff, it's as much fun for me, but also I like the challenge of making it, so realistic for that player. So yes, you are running them side to side. You're trying to get that ball where they are at full stretch, so that they're not just getting one straight up in the air and just, boringly just straight in. Okay, doing that. So no. I remember when I first, and Rob Key used to say that Mark Elam's dad, Alan, who was renowned as a fielder, used to coach the Kent second team. It was when the likes of Keys, it was before I joined, and they used to talk about how Ely would hit these catches up, and they were practicing the boundary edge catches, and it was just all about fun. It was before they were trying to knock him in, and Ely would hit one, and when he knew he'd got it just right where they were leaning over, he'd shout, "That's a beauty!" and that's that's the thinking you have as a coach. You're like, yes, I've got that one. That's going to be a toughie. And then when they get them, you get as much energy off them doing that as enjoyment of seeing it. That I can challenge them that way, and they've got it. So it's that's the fun part of fielding coaching, is that you are challenging those fielders to try and get them to reproduce something as similar to what they'll have to do in a match.
How is the coaching going?
Yeah, it's good. No, loving it. It's this morning I was at Polo Farm in Canterbury with the Kent EPP girls. So it's the best players from the age groups, the sort of 13 up to 18-year-olds. We'll do a bit of diving catching actually. And when you were asking me before about Glenn Phillips, it was I went straight away to the pictures I had of those girls this morning, and how a few of them made it look easy, because it's something within the girls and the women's game, is that getting in contact with the ground is about confidence, and girls across haven't been as confident with being with their ground contact. So there's something we're working on, and that's why you see, the level of fielding with the women's international game is just going to keep going up and up and up. It's as this professionalism of women's cricket sort of really starts to embed into their skills, and you see the women so comfortable with doing it every aspect, whereas historically they weren't as confident because they didn't practice it as much.
You see Alyssa Healy in her last game, for got 158 in her last match. Star performer. But you would say that the biggest underperforming side of the T20 World Cup have got to be the Australians. I can't think of anybody else that has underperformed to the level that they're at, which is a shame, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's something we expect, but and well, how's this for a segue? So, did you see though that something which you don't expect is that Alyssa Healy bowled in that last
Oh,
match?
did she? I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, it was rubbish. But she,
That's it.
she's like, I'll do what I want. Listen, I'm finishing here. I've got
Yeah.
130 odd. I've done that. I'm going to have a bowl. And she just did it with the nature it was intended. It was good. They were winning easily, and so she had a bowl. But coming back to Australia, it's we expect them in these World Cups that they do produce, and so it's a surprise. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of made of the fact that they were missing some star players, their captain being one of them, who is obviously quite important to them to steer the ship. But still, it shouldn't be an excuse, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure will be fallout, and there'll be sort of some looking into as to what went wrong, and do we need to move on from a few players and embed some new players for the future generation.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, last week, wasn't it? They're still relying on Cummings, Hazelwood, Smith to get them out of situations. And there needs to be a new crop of players coming through. What players who maybe came into this tournament, with people around the world not really knowing them or having come off a poor previous series, any players sort of stand out for you whose stock has risen over the course of this T20 World Cup?
Well, it's probably one we've spoken about or previously with is a Zimbabwean captain, and sort of we haven't seen a lot of them play internationally, and so what he's done with the bat and the ball and leadership. So teams, especially in T20, it's now sort of think franchise cricket will be a huge part of what he does anyway to try and earn a living,
Yeah.
and so now so franchises will be looking at him and going, if they didn't know about him, he's one that you could go, okay, wow, we need to consider this guy for sure.
I think there's a few from those sort of associate nations and the let's say the full member nations who aren't as high up as England, Australia, whatever. Zim being one of them. I think Brian Bennett, or I am Bennett, as he's now known after his press conference, did you see that? Where the journalist didn't know who he was. Was asking him about Bennett. And he said, "No, I am Bennett." It was quite funny.
Oh, brilliant.
He's done well. And I think Brad Evans and Blessing Muzarabani have done well for Zim as well. And I think Shadley von Skalkvik I don't know if he still is, but he was a couple of days ago still the leading wicket taker in the tournament. South African born, plays for the States nowadays. I think there's some few players have come up who are going back, going to franchise cricket. Could get picked up at the 100 auction. I think the PSL auction is today or tomorrow, I think. There's some players who could get picked up on the cheap, if you like, which is great for the showcase that this tournament gives them.
Yeah, and it may sound a bit harsh, but I'm not. I think it's more those sort of tournaments where maybe the Caribbean Premier League or the PSL is where they'll get pick up their gigs in franchise cricket. I think that step up to hundreds and and the IPL and going down to the Big Bash. I think that's probably teams will still look for bigger names. No disrespect to those guys, but like the European T20 competition, that's where those guys could see those opportunities pop up, and you get 3 or 4 of those across the year. It adds nicely to their bank balance, and it sort of makes up from, especially the
Yeah.
Zimbabwean guys and USA. They're not going to be on much money, and they're probably that's what they're looking for. Can we make it a decent bit of money off over the next couple of years.
A couple of guys have stood out for me. One is Ishan Kishan, on the basis not just his name, but because I think he went through a bit of through the doldrums a bit, got dropped, and has fought his way back, and has batted well in this. But Will Jacks is the one for me, especially after the Ashes, where he just didn't do very well, and there was his bowling wasn't great, didn't get that many runs, and he's coming in at 8 here, and I think he's got 3 MVPs so far. His bowling's come on, just smashing the ball to all parts to win England matches. I think he's the one player I would say whose stock has risen. Do you think then that Will Jacks is now an England player for all formats across the English summer?
No, I've still got reservations of Test cricket. His bowling for me in Test cricket isn't quite there, but in the white ball formats, he's up behind Harry Brook. He's put himself there as a number 2 on the team sheet, and as well as that, I think Sam Curran has held his stocks and slightly. We've seen him performing in all the different games, in all the different tournaments he's been playing in recently. And so again, Sam Curran's another one whose stock has probably risen slightly. But it's fantastic for England. We've got 2 guys there who are performing the way they are.
Yeah, England will play the winner of this match is going on at the moment, India versus the West Indies. India needs 17 runs to win off the last 2 overs. They seem to be pacing that
What do you
quite
reckon?
well.
Is it game on?
I don't know that it is. I think they've got 2 set batters, haven't they? Samson's on 87 and Hardik Pandya's on 17. West Indies get...
This over's crucial.
Yeah, this over's crucial. Especially if they get Sanju Samson out, then I think the Windies are back in it. But I think as we see at the moment, the Indians look like they're going to get over the line. For England, though, whoever let's assume, go on, have you got something? You look like you had that look upon you. You're going to tell me something that I need to know.
Look upon your face. Oh no, I was just sort of.
I'm glad you can sing as well.
No, I can't. This sort of highlights that this is T20 in a snapshot. That potentially whoever's bowling that 19th over, it could only be their whole contribution for them for this match could be the second or the third over that they bowl, and so these next 6 balls could dictate if if the West Indian whoever's bowling it for West Indies, these next 6 balls could dictate if West Indies win and get the ability to go and go through to that semi-final, and that is T20 cricket. It's you don't get another. It's not a day's cricket where you have 18 overs. It's not sort of 50 over cricket where this is what more happens in T20 cricket than any other format. That the spotlight is so on you for such a small period of time.
But the outcome of that spotlight is exponentially greater than any other format of the game. I mean, financially and anything else.
Yeah, and it's what they train for. It's skill execution, isn't it? Lasith Malinga, who was unbelievable at this style, this time of the match. All he did was practice over and over and over. He would put a bowling shoe in the block hole where he wanted to hit. He would just. And I heard a story recently that I think he's in a coaching role, and he just went up, and the guys he was coaching couldn't do it, and he just got to put his boot down. He trotted up. I think he's carrying a bit now, but he just went boom, and he still had that ability to do it. And so, and this comes down to the highest pressure at the highest level to sort of with the most amount on the match, but also individually, this could do a lot for your career.
So to bring it back to England then, we said at the start of this World Cup that if England didn't get to at least the semi-finals, Baz McCullum's tenure as the coach would be in question. They've done that. India have lost a wicket. I'm just going to break off there. They've lost a wicket, and it's Hardik Pandya who's gone for 17.
2 dot balls.
2 dot balls. Yeah, they need 17 off 1.4 overs. It's definitely coming down to the wire. I've said that. I need to find a different phrase to coming down to the wire. It's on a knife edge. Let's go with that one. I need to practice more words for my commentary students. What have you done?
This I don't know. Zoom things popped up on my screen. You're the commentator. You're the one that watches these and commentates in your front room to yourself.
Well, it's called practice.
Yeah. Yeah, you're painting the picture to people who are potentially going to listen to this in 3 days' time when they know the result. They want to get excited about it. Come on, mate.
What I'm trying to do is drag the arse out of this podcast so that we can close by saying that England are going to play in the final, you see. But currently it's going so blooming slow that they need 13 off 1.3 overs. I'm going with England.
You need
England
to
are going to
ask
play
me another,
India.
who am I then?
Yeah. No, we haven't got that long. Do you think it's
Anyway,
redemption?
to answer your question about
Yeah. Baz
England
McCullum.
and, will it, what, yeah, correct. I don't, I think there's still going to be, when we come round to the first test match of the summer, it's still going, it's going to be about answering questions of the Ashes. What's happening now, I think, is indicative of, in a way, England are so happy, comfortable playing this format. Baz McCullum can do things like telling Harry Brook, go back number 3, all right, go back like Saywag, just whack it, because ultimately what's on it? It's that ability, right? You go down in T20 cricket, he said, go down there, express yourself, hit it for 6. And it's short term, that ability to go and impact a game. Test cricket, you can't do that. It's over 5 days. And so you get highlighted, you get found out. And that's what happened over the Ashes, was that we were more concerned about their thinking, and the execution than anything. We didn't doubt the skill, whereas we were just concerned as to why were they thinking, why were they doing that at that point in time, both on and off the field. So I think the nature of the sides and is T20 stuff is, I expected this. You expect this from them. We've seen for a long time the way that they can play in T20 cricket and express themselves. So I don't think it's going to be the redemption. If they lose in the semi-final, I don't think it's going to be the end of Baz McCullum, because we didn't make the final on the back of what happened at the Ashes. I think we'd love him to win, but I think we're showing what he's good at in T20 cricket. What we want him, I think we want to give him the chance to show that we can do it, perform really well at Test cricket as well.
Just a final question then before we close. Do you think there needs to be a coach at T20 level?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Because you need the stick. Yeah, you have to steer the ship, and you have to have someone who's ultimately making those decisions at the top. And
Would that not be the captain?
yeah, no, because they've got they've got a lot to they've got a lot to think about anyway, and you want them to perform, and you don't want to overload them with that. And so the coach's job is to take some pressures off. The
Okay.
captain will be thinking about a lot, but as a coach, your job is to, one, sort of decide on a method, and we know what Baz McCullum's method is, and then with that method, it's to convince your players and to set up stuff so that your players can go and produce it, because you've looked at it and you've analysed it. You think this is the best way for these guys to play, and so it'd be too much for a captain to try and do all that, and think about the 14 players on the trip and stuff like that. So
fair enough. Right. So England redemption. They've got to the semi-finals. Harry Brook has put the past behind him of the Ashes and punch-ups with New Zealand bouncers, and England are on the right footing to go forward, playing the winner of this game, which is still going on. But I'm going to say they're going to play India in Mumbai on Thursday.
Yeah, scores are level.
Scores are level. You're
So
ahead.
they hit.
Scores are level.
Yeah, they hit the first ball for 6. So they need
There you go. So that's there
India.
you go. India, England, one semi, South Africa, New Zealand in the other. At the final that we both predicted is the semi-final. So that's kind of, we're quite good. That's what it comes down to. And we will chat. The finals next Sunday. We will
Just
chat.
give you a pat on the back, mate.
Well,
All right, mate. Sounds good.
If I could reach. See you, mate. Bye. So thank you for watching this episode of Close of Play. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify and Apple. It helps us a lot to get more content out there, more reach, get the algorithm working in our favour a bit. And we look forward to seeing you next time.